Hi everybody, this is Gigi again, and this is Inequality Part 4. So question 4 in your notes handout. The question is asking, given the function p of x as exhibited here, when is p of x greater than 0? So what does that translate to? That translates to when is this polynomial x minus 2 squared times 3 minus x times 5x plus 1 be greater than or equal to 0. So this again is an inequality. So the first step in an inequality is to find your critical point, meaning when is x minus 2 squared times 3 minus x multiplied by 5x plus 1, when is it equal to 0? Okay, so that would give us our critical points where the break-even point is. Okay, so here we have a polynomial, we have multiplication. So either this factor is 0, meaning x is 2, or this factor is 0, meaning x is 3, or this factor is 0, meaning x is negative 1 over 5. So those are when we have the polynomial equal to 0, right? So that's step 1, solve the associated equation. Step 2 is to go ahead and put those on the number line. Now, in the previous video, we know we have to pay attention to our domain, right? So the domain of a polynomial function is all real numbers. So we now consider all real numbers as our possible solutions. And then here we would say negative 1 over 5. That is when the polynomial is equal to 0. We do want greater than or equal to 0. So we will include here when it's equal to 0. And then 2. That is when it's equal to 0. We will include that in our solution. 3 is when that is equal to 0, and we will include that in our solution as well. Okay, so those are our cutoff points, our critical points there. And then we are going to test the intervals that are in between here and see where the solutions might lie. Okay, so first, let's pick a number, say x equals, well, to the left of negative 5 over 1 over 5. Well, let's say negative 2, okay? When x is negative 2, we would have negative 2 multiply minus 2 is a negative number. Negative number squared is going to give me a positive. Now, we are only checking to see if it's greater than 0, so we really don't need to calculate the actual value, just either it's positive or negative, right? So when x is negative 2, the second factor there would be 3 minus a negative 2. That will give me a positive answer. And then when x is negative 2, 5 times negative 2 plus 1 is a negative number. Positive times a negative is going to be a negative number, and that's less than 0. But we want it to be greater than 0, so this is not a solution for what we are trying to look for. Okay, now next in the process, let's go ahead and take a look at when x is, let's pick a number between negative 1/5 and 2. Well, between a negative number and a positive number, I say I'm going to pick 0. Okay, so 0 is right there. So the first factor, 0 minus 2 is negative 2. Negative 2 squared is going to be positive. 3 minus 0 is going to be positive. 0 times 5 plus 1 is going to be positive, and that is going to be a positive number, or p of x will be greater than 0. So this will be part of your solution. Okay, now let's take a look at when x is, say, between 2 and 3, say 2.5. Well, when x is 2.5, 2.5 minus 2 is going to be a positive number. Positive number squared is going to be positive. 3 minus 2.5 is going to be positive. And then 2.5 times 5 plus 1 is going to be positive. So this, again, is going to be greater than 0. So we are good here as well. Okay. Now we will pick a number between to the right of 3. Okay, so we're going to pick a number to the right of 3. Say x is equal to, I don't know, say 4. Okay, 4 is to the right of 3. So 4 minus 2 is positive 2. Positive 2 squared is going to be positive. 3 minus 4 is a negative number. And then 4 multiplied by 5 plus 1 is going to be positive. 2 positive times a negative is going to be a negative number. So this will not work. So your solution will be in this interval from negative 1/5 to 3, including negative 1/5, 2, and 3. So when is p of x is greater than or equal to 0 when x is in the interval of negative 1/5 to 3, including the endpoints. Okay. Now, suppose I am asking you not just greater than or equal to, but what if I am asking you when is it greater than only, not greater than or equal to. Okay, so when is p of x greater than 0? So this right here is not going to include, so the process is exactly the same, except for we will not include negative 1/5, we will not include 2, we will not include 3, right? And then you already saw this right here is less than 0, so that's not going to work. This right here is greater than 0, so that's okay. The third interval is greater than 0, so that's okay. But this last interval here is going to be less than 0, and that's not okay. So here, the solution is not including these endpoints here, so you will have a break in your interval. So your answer is going to be negative 1/5 to 2 parentheses union to the 3. Okay, so that would be the difference as when we are asking when is it greater than 0 only versus when it is greater than or equal to 0. If it's greater than or equal to, we will include those critical points. When it's just greater than or just less than, we will not include those critical points. And that is it.